Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Vinland Saga. Last time around we had Out of the Cradle, where basically we had the rematch between Thorkell and Thorfinn, which, well, I guess it did go about as well as you would expect, in that Thorfinn was able to last for a while, but ultimately was not able to seal the deal. Thorkell started teasing about Thor's past, which was interesting, but we didn't get a lot on that. And he asked Thorfinn, what does it mean to be a true warrior, which was interesting. Meanwhile, Canute has discovered the meaning of life and love and death and everything, and has become confident and will now lead the Vikings to salvation. His own salvation, not the salvation of God. So, that's the long and short of it. Mostly the short of it, but yeah, it was very interesting, very eye-opening, and very thought-provoking first thing in the morning. So, yeah. So that was pretty much that. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Vinland Saga. Here we go. Alright. Man, how am I gotta process this. Hang on. It's gonna take me a minute to get my mouth running, so. Man, that's an interesting thing. I feel like, you know what it feels like? It almost feels like we're kind of following the wrong character. Like, I kind of feel like in any other story, especially in anime, it would be more of the son being, almost identical to his father. He's the visionary. He understands the secret. That's what makes him such a great protagonist that everyone can follow. But that's just not what's happening in this show. Like that's not it. Because you have Thor's, the great man that he was, the true warrior, and he affects so many people in this show. Askeladd, Thorkell, Thorfinn. But the one who is like him, Thorkell sees it in his eyes. The one who's like him is Canute. And not Thorfinn, If anything, Thorfinn is nowhere near where he should be, technically, He doesn't understand any of it, If anything, Thorfinn is still a child, He is an angry child who wants to get his revenge and nothing else. It's the only thing that's been on his mind for 10 years, So it's just, I don't know, that's an interesting thing. But at the same time, I kind of like that. I kind of like that idea that Thorfinn just cannot comprehend the lesson, And I like that it's like he's kind of almost just a bad protagonist, I mean, and that could lead to the reason as to why we've had so many episodes that are focused on Canute or focused on Askeladd and not really focused on Thorfinn, is because he's not a good protagonist. Like, and don't get me wrong, like he's a great character and he works in this show very well, but in the actual job, like, he's a great protagonist in the fact that his story is that he's a terrible protagonist, Like, he's not the visionary, he's not the savior, He's not the incredible, great Gary Stu, and I'm not saying even Canute is like that, I'm just, pointing out, like, how many times does that happen in anime? How many isekais are out there where it's like, well, this average guy, he gets transported to a different world, and he's OP and crazy and a visionary, Or, like, there'll be other... And, it kind of reminds me they do that a bit in Attack on Titan, where, like, Eren himself was more of a plot device than a character. And for a while, like, it still kind of worked, but, like, Eren as a character didn't really work, but that's not what the story really needed. You know, Eren was always sort of a plot device. Thorfinn's not really even a plot device. That's the thing, though, you know? He's not a plot device. He's a guy who's being dragged through the story, you know? But then again, should he be? Should he be the great visionary, the true warrior? Should he be all of these things? Or should he have just been a kid, you know? Which you could also say about Eren Yeager. Eren Yeager should have just been a kid, you know? He probably shouldn't have gone through what he went through. Thorfinn should not be going through what he's going through. So it's sort of a similar way. Okay, I was trying to think of, like, what is the comparison I'm trying to get. And I think it's like Deku. It's like, Thorfinn is not Deku. And this isn't even a knock on Deku, because obviously Deku works in the story that he is in. Until season 6 when they shit the bed, but that's beside the point. Anyway. But Deku works in his own story, and the story revolves around him, you know? Like, all of that works. Whereas Thorfinn should be the Deku, but he's not, you know? He's not the one who is, you know, insanely either gifted or talented or, you know, puts in back-breaking work to become amazing. He doesn't, you know, go through this incredible journey to reach enlightenment. Canute did. He doesn't, you know? Thorfinn didn't. Thorfinn, if anything, is just kind of a guy. And I kind of like that. I mean, you know, sometimes I'll watch a show and it's just like I did, you know, we were talking about OP isekais. I watched one. It wasn't that he was, like, overpowered, but the guy, it's like, it was How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. And it's basically, this guy gets isekai'd, and then he becomes the king of a kingdom, and he's so friggin' smart at the age of 18 that he knows how the world works, and he understands, like, all these political systems and policies that he can implement, and it's just all great. And I watch that, and I think to myself, man, when I was 18, I was a fucking idiot. I still am, honestly. Like, I'm 26 now, and I'm just like, I couldn't do all of this, you know? I couldn't do all of this if I was suddenly isekai'd into this world. So, it's kind of nice seeing a character like Thorfinn, where it's just like, he should be the main character. He should be the focus of the story. He should be all of these great things. But he's not. He's not. If anything, he's very average, you know? He's very average. You know, he has the things that he was, you know, gifted by his own birth. You know, the strength, the strength, you know? Or, you know, he's very good with his knives, something that he trained, you know? That's something he built up over years, is his skills with the blade, you know? While you were having sex, I was studying the blade. That's not the exact quote, it's while you were chasing girls. Neither of which Canute did, either, so yeah, it's I mean, that's the thing, you know? But you could even say that about Thorkel, that Thorkel is sort of another stand-in, you know? He kind of has a single-track mind, but he wants to figure it out, you know? Like, he regrets not going with Thor's and seeing what does it mean to be a true warrior, you know? Now, it would have been interesting because, again, would he have understood it, you know? Would he have understood it? And I don't know, you know, if he went off and lived in Iceland with Thor's, would he have understood that? We don't know. But the fact that he regrets not trying is interesting, you know? Because you look at Thorkel and he's this big old beast, and he's goofy, and he's fun, but it's interesting seeing him, you know, trying to process this stuff and trying to figure it out, you know? Whereas Thorfinn's literal own subconscious is trying to tell him about this stuff, and he's not listening. He's had multiple dreams, you know, of his father thinking, I need to learn the lessons that my father tried to teach me, you know? I need to learn the lessons that my father tried to teach me, and he still will not listen to any of it, you know? And so that's just an interesting thing. It's like the fact that Thorfinn is not, he's almost like he's going through a negative character arc, you know? It's like he's not getting better. He's not achieving anything. He hasn't, you know, he doesn't have an understanding of where he's going. He just is, you know? He has a single track. He has a single goal. He does have a goal, you know? He does have a goal to kill Asklid, but if anything, Thorfinn is no different from, you know, from the boys, you know, like Thorgrim, you know? Thorgrim, he was a simple man. He tried to do something, you know, he tried to betray Asklid and appeal to Thorkel, and it didn't work, you know? All of Asklid's men, pretty much, they are single-track people, you know? With, like, maybe the exception of Bjorn, I guess. Like, Bjorn is kind of the closest, where it's like, you know... I mean, Bjorn is kind of single-track, but he understands the track and stays on that track, you know? Like, he's still... You know, he's single-track in that he follows Asklid, and that's that, you know? But at the same time, it's like... At the same time... He's sort of content in his ways, you know? I don't know, but it's like with Thorfinn, it's like Thorfinn is honestly not that much different from the rest of the boys, you know? He doesn't think about this stuff. He doesn't have some grandiose goal, you know, like Asklid, or he hasn't achieved enlightenment like Canute, or wants to achieve enlightenment like Thorkel, you know? Anytime, you know... Because Thorkel is like, hey, you know, what was life like in Iceland? You know, what was Thor's life like? And Thorfinn's just like, God, I'm not telling you, shut up. And it's just like, what the hell? Like, I thought we were engaging in a conversation, you know? Like, I thought we were, you know, I thought we were discussing something very important. And no, Thorfinn's just being a child, you know? But can you blame him? You know, can you blame, like, you can't even blame him for how he is, because he's just, I don't know. But it's interesting. It's interesting, man. It's such an interesting story, and yeah, honestly, I like that Thorfinn, I don't know, I guess he's not actually a part of the story. Despite being the main character, he's not actually a part of the story. Now, that could still change at some point. I don't know. See, I don't really know where we're going to go with Season 2, you know? Like, is this going to continue? I don't know. Because, like, if this continues, something has to change with Thorfinn's character. Either he does become invested in everything and does, you know, because the next thing I would imagine is going and defeating King Sven. But if you're going to do that, I don't, like, Thorfinn can't just be, he can't just stay the same, though. Like, but can he? Maybe he can. I don't know. Can the protagonist still just not be actually invested or interested in the plot at hand? Can you keep that up? I don't know. Because that's the thing, is, like, we didn't get a lot of moments of, like, pause with Thorfinn in this episode. We got a little bit last episode, but there wasn't much of, like, you know, there wasn't much of Thorfinn stopping and kind of thinking about what Thorkel was telling him, you know? Like, he doesn't seem that interested, honestly, in how... He doesn't seem very interested in, you know, Thor's enlightenment. He doesn't see it in Canute, you know? I don't know. How do we continue with Thorfinn from here? I guess that's our question. I don't know. The other stuff from this episode, I mean, we had... I liked an actual, like, kind of moment between Thorfinn and Askeladd. Like, that was good. And again, it was a moment of Thorfinn just, trying to shut him out, just being, the same as always. And Askeladd being like, no, you have to listen to me if you're going to defeat him. You have to do this my way. And it worked. He did knock him down, but he knocked him down. It's interesting. So Thorkel's weakness is I guess he just can't take a blow to the face. That's really interesting. And then, yeah, so that was interesting. And then I liked that Canute did rally them all. He rallied them all together like, hey, we're going to go take down the king. And Thorkel's like, well, I was going to do that anyway, so might as well, I was going to end up fighting him anyway, so I guess we might as well follow you. So... And I like that little moment, too, after Askeladd, reveals that he was the one who killed Ragnar. Which was interesting. Very bold of him to just do that, But... And obviously that affecting Canute, but him saying, like, fine, if you're going to follow me, then follow me, And I like that little moment of Thorkel being like, hey, don't copy me. He's like, whatever. I swore to be his vassal first, So, my nose is acting up a little bit right now. Alright. So, yeah. Really, really good, interesting stuff. And I'm curious to see where we're going with this. We got, 4 more episodes this season? So, I don't know. But I'm very, very curious indeed. But that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Vinland Saga reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.